convention in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, the place where our nation was founded, and the place where we will make history once again.
Would you, if you had control, let Debbie Wasserman Schultz take the stage tonight and for the close?
Well, let me preface it by saying I really like Debbie, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't, number one, for her own good, because it's going to be messy when she gets up there.
All right, so that was actually Ed Rendell on Morning Joe earlier, and you also saw Debbie Wasserman Schultz campaigning Friday with Hillary Clinton. So Ed Rendell last hour kind of going there saying she shouldn't be speaking tonight. Joining us now, Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta.
John, thanks so much for doing it. Thank you, everybody. We apologize to you. It's kind of a slow news day.
Yeah,
here
nothing going on.
And last week, nothing to see. Why don't we start with that question? It's not just Ed Rendell. Every Democrat that I talk to off camera says the same thing. Debbie should just go away. She should just quietly go back campaign. She's got a tough re-election. She needs to focus on that. Why have her open and close this convention when it's going to obviously
so
cause
risky?
chaos?
Well, look, she has done, I think, what she needed to do, which is to resign from the as chair of the party. She's indicated that she spent 5 years trying to build the party. She helped re-elect President Obama. And she made the choice that she wanted to, under the rules, she has the right to open the party, open the convention. She's going to do that.
But so, do you really think that's a good idea?
You know, look, I think that was her choice, and I think that we're moving on. Look, we're excited about what's happening tonight. We've got some
wouldn't it be better,
people.
Though? You do have great
We have great people.
But it starts
This is at
you don't
3
want to
o'clock.
start it badly. Don't.
Guess what?
Let me ask you the
Guess
question.
what?
I got to ask you the question.
If I said
You don't want me to ask you the
everyone
question.
will forget about it.
I got to ask you the question.
Go ahead.
Would you like Debbie? Well, that's very good, by the way. Would you like Debbie to not? Would it be best for Hillary Clinton if Debbie did not open the convention?
It's best for Hillary Clinton that we have a new chair of the party. We'll have that with Donna Brazile, and we're looking forward to that.
Wow.
What about, though, would you prefer tonight that she not open
Look, I'm not going
to,
you know,
okay, Joe,
jump
let
on
me
her
translate
more.
for you. That's a yes.
Okay, very good.
That's his yes.
John Heil.
He just said yes.
John, you're keeping her on your campaign. You're giving her a job on the campaign after this. What's that about?
You know, she's been a supporter of President Obama. She's the supporter of Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine. She'll go out. She'll campaign where she's where she's welcome, and we'll move on from there. But you know, like what we're thinking about right now is that we have some of our best stars from the Democratic Party.
Tell us the line.
Breakout star Cory Booker.
Post pivot. He's like,
he's very good.
Really good.
He's pushing you away.
Look,
listen,
I mean, you guys can spend all morning talking about Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Tonight, you'll be talking about Michelle Obama, Cory Booker, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren.
Oh my God!
And
so, John,
I think we're going to have a great unified convention.
One more question on this. We'll let Willie ask a question. Then we do want to move on to the Russians. We want to move on to the speakers tonight. We want to move on to the campaign in general. And Tim Kaine.
So you mentioned you do have Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders speaking tonight. There are a lot of people probably in this room, and certainly a lot of people out on the streets of Philadelphia who would have liked to have seen them be the vice presidential choice. I'll preempt you saying Tim Kaine is great. I know you believe that, but why not Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren?
Well, look, I think that it's a process that we went through, looking at a lot of people. We narrowed the list. I think ultimately what Hillary wanted was someone who could step in the job on day one if it was necessary. But I think most importantly, someone who could be a real partner with her. She really was taken with him. She didn't know him that well, but she's really taken with him. He comes from a deep moral place. His whole career has been about helping people. I think it tracks with what she's been about in politics, getting things done. And he comes, you know, from a background of having left law school, gone to Honduras, taught in a Jesuit missionary school. I like that. You know, that's kind of part of my background.
I understand that, and I understand why you like
going to be a civil rights
Why not
lawyer?
Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren? What was his edge
Look, I
over
think
them?
she has been pleased to get Senator Sanders' endorsement. She campaigned with him. She had a great time with Elizabeth Warren, but she thought that Tim was the right guy to be her partner in this campaign and definitely in governing. And I think she was proven right for anyone who watched his speech in Miami when she was announced. He did a great job.
Speaking of Bernie Sanders, I've been wandering around this town. It's full of Bernie Sanders supporters. They're everywhere. They're yelling. They're holding signs. Have you all reviewed the speech that Bernie Sanders is going to be giving tonight?
The short answer to that is that no, we have not.
Oh, no.
Oh, here we go.
Yes.
On Ellie.
And
got a
but
problem.
we're,
Possibly because it hasn't been written yet.
who knows? There's a
you
yellow.
review it before
There's a yellow pad. I think.
We're not going to have a repeat of the Ted Cruz speech, are we?
No.
Of course not. I mean, we already saw what he's going to say when he stood with her in New Hampshire,
Right.
endorsed her, was full-throated, said this is a campaign that he wants to be involved with. He wants to do everything he can to elect her and defeat
Right.
Donald Trump, and that's what we're going to get tonight.
So
and he'll
let's-
have, he'll have a big audience to do it, and that's good for us.
Great. So, John, let's move on to this Russian story. David Sanger this morning, an
Incredible.
extraordinary story. Vladimir Putin's intel agencies in Russia hacked the DNC and leaked, obviously, at the worst possible time for Hillary Clinton. Do you believe Vladimir Putin's intelligence agencies are doing the bidding of Donald Trump?
Well, I think that the New York Times kind of nailed where the
Right.
hacks came from.
From Russia, right.
From agencies associated with military intelligence and the GRU. So, I think that
Do you think
we
there's a
don't
Trump
have.
connection?
I think that we don't have information right now about that. But what we have is a kind of bromance going on between Putin and Trump, which is distinct from this leak. And we have the Republican
That's well put.
party platform
Yeah.
moving back, saying they won't defend NATO allies. So I don't know.
And Donald
I mean,
Trump's extraordinary
maybe
interview with
it's
the New
just
York Times last week.
Maybe it's simply just a mutual admiration society. I don't know, but it's
Frightening.
It's frightening.
Do you have any doubt in your mind that Donald Trump would prefer, or that Vladimir Putin would prefer to see Donald Trump president than Hillary Clinton?
Well, he seems to have indicated that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
How worried are you, John, that there's more to come? Julian Assange tweeted last night that my next leak will ensure Hillary Clinton's arrest. Are you worried that more is coming down the pipeline?
Well, that's strong.
Well, that's kind of like, that would be disturbing.
But her Chappaqua server, things with the foundation. Are you
Look,
worried that there's more to come here?
Well, am I worried that there's
More email leaks.
More email leaks
Yeah.
that will happen? Well, the Russians are pretty good at hacking, so who knows? But I think that I think we just had about a year of the FBI looking at her server, and they concluded that no reasonable prosecutor would do anything. So I think we're done with that, and we need to move on and maybe talk about the issues that the American people actually care about, like building an inclusive economy for everyday Americans instead of people at the very top. But we can keep talking about this stuff.
So John, you actually just beat me to the punch. I was going to actually thank you for coming out.
Yeah.
Early in the morning, answering tough questions, but then was going.
I thought I was getting
Then I
ale,
was-
but I didn't get any. All I got was coffee.
Then I was. Let's get John an ale
Almond told
really
me that
quickly.
they were drinking beer here.
But while he answers his
I
last
got you
question,
back.
but I wanted to throw you a softball question and ask you, why should Hillary Clinton be our next president of the United States?
Look, she's had a lifetime of history of fighting for children and families. It's a throughput. I thought Tim Kaine put it best. When you look at a politician's career and see what they did before they were in politics and see whether they've carried that through, fought the same fights, been consistent, always put people first, always tried to make a difference in people's lives. Oh, my God.
Wow, that was quick.
Excellent. Thank you.
So has it been frustrating to you? Because
I
there
think-
have been
and with
there have obviously been legitimate questions about the foundation and the emails, but has it been frustrating to you that you haven't been able to get to issues more over the past year?
Yeah, of course. It's frustrating, but we're going to keep doing it because it's important that the American people know what she will do
What
for them.
don't they know about Hillary Clinton that they should know?
I think, as I said, I thought Tim put it very well, which was that from day one, she's been fighting for, when she went to working for the Children's Defense Fund to get children with disabilities into public schools, when she went to get kids who were put in adult prisons out of adult prisons in South Carolina. She has been fighting She's been a fighter all her life. She got the grit to do it. She takes a lot of incoming, but she always goes back because she believes that if you can make a difference for people, you can create a more inclusive economy that helps people rather than just those at the top. That's worth doing, and it's worth putting yourself through.
You know, Mika, you had actually. I remember you going back to 1992 and looking at a clip of
yes.
Hillary Clinton talking to Katie Couric, I think it was.
On the Today Show
and
about women.
You were surprised about how, you know, what was that? Good Lord, 25 years ago? How ahead of her time she was, saying things that may have been controversial in 1992, but that are mainstream now.
Well,
But
you
she
know,
did it.
there's a lot of kind of what we talk about in the Know Your Value movement, but in terms of women and equal pay and having an equal part in society, especially professional society, she stood out like a sore thumb then, saying those things, and yet she's saying those same things today, and they're spot on to where we need to be. So I will say I was incredibly impressed at her consistency.
You know, Mika, when she went to Beijing and said women's rights are human rights are women's rights, the State Department told her not to do that, not to go, not to say it, and she stood up and did it. And I think the world's a better, the world's a better place because she.
And
did it.
then it was incredible. The State Department emailed her and said, "This is the last straw." It was unbelievable.
Stop.
John
Podesta, thank you very
John.
much. Great to have
and you
you
can
on.
take your ale with you.
All right, up next, the Republican convention was only the beginning. Donald Trump has big plans for Ted Cruz going forward. We'll talk about that. And we are going to be live here in Philadelphia all week for special coverage of the Democratic convention. We've got big guests lined up, so be sure to tune in. Morning Joe is coming right back.